Welcome back to the Jonsel Gourkan journey. Jonsel Gourkan, the pickled one, the gherkinator. We are back for this evening's episode, which will be about insulin pumps. Insulin pumps! Pump Mania! What you gonna do when Pump Mania runs wild on you? Well, probably nothing if you're not on a pump, but if you're on a pump, you'll understand. You might want to find out. And if you're about to go on a pump, this episode might prove to be pretty useful for you, as I have been on 4 insulin pumps. And don't you dare say diabetic pump, because some people get offended when you say diabetic pump. Language matters. Diabetic pump, it's a pump that belongs to a diabetic. Don't get offended by it. Diabetic pump, insulin pump, pump! Yes, the pump. I've been on 4 pumps. I'm going to talk to you about my experiences and what I feel is the best of the best when it comes to pumps. Oh, the word pump. Pump! Wine me, dine me, 619 me. Absolutely nothing to do with insulin pumps, but still, the Mysterio mask is on, and this mask is so tight, I feel like a little gimp in a basement. Fresh. Let's get kicking. Tonight's episode, like I say, Pump Mania. I've got loads to say about it. And there's many things I'm going to say that many people don't talk about, because you're not allowed to say certain things. You've got to always be Mr. Miyagi going for a poo again. Whenever I shoot my episodes, Miyagi goes for a poo. Lover! Right, enough of that. Let's crack on with the episode. Pump Mania. Woo! I've been on multiple pumps. 4 fantastic pumps. Well, I say fantastic, but about, let's have a look. 2 of them have been absolute poo. Yes, not good. But what I'm going to tell you now, listen, it's my experiences. So we all differ with how we treat our diabetes. What works for some might not work for others. So this is just my experience. So if there's a pump that you might love and like, and I don't like it, that's cool. The pumps I'm talking about, they just haven't agreed with my lifestyle and how I like to live life. And I've got to be honest, because honesty is the best policy. And we find that a lot of people with diabetes sit on the fence. They're scared to say certain things. If they say something, they're told off. And for me, going on a pump isn't just about the pump itself. It's about the way the pump company sort of train you, they treat you, the information they give you. It's a whole, it's a package. It's not just one thing, the pump which is keeping you alive. It's everything involved. Not everyone's going to be quick off the bat when it comes to information in regards to insulin pumps, how much they should give themselves with their bolus. I mean, I was a bit flummoxed all these years later when people were discussing basal bolus. I was like, well, it's just insulin. So you're always learning. I'm still learning, 36 years, type 1, still learning, always learning. Don't think that you can't learn, because you can. And no one is the oracle of all knowledge. We all speak from experiences. And today, me sharing my experiences, I hope it's going to help you. I hope it's going to sort of put you on the right track if you want to get involved with an insulin pump. It doesn't matter if you do or if you don't. Yet again, your diabetes is your life. You choose how you want to live with it. No one can force you to do what you don't want to do. And if you end up doing things what other people want you to do, that's not living. That's you living life for them. They're not in your shoes. They don't know what you're going through. They don't know how your mental health is. No one knows but you. So always do what's right for you. I keep saying you, but I mean that. Do what's right for you. You are number one. And if you don't put yourself at the top of the ladder, then who else is going to help you? They're not. You've got to help yourself. And by doing that, you've got to be selfish. You've got to knock on doors. You've got to hassle. I know it's hard. My mum was the same, bless her. She never went on CGM. It would have helped her. It would have saved her. Being on a pump, it might have helped her. But my mum was so stubborn. Not enough help was done. Because people speak to you in such a small, vile, I think of words here, horrible way. But they do. They speak to you like you're that. You're not. All of you, you're that. You're massive. You're huge. Don't ever put yourself in that little spot where you think, oh, I'm not worthy. I'm not. No, rubbish. You deserve the best treatment. Ask. If you don't ask, you'll never know. So let's go on with it. And the first pump I'm going to be discussing is the first pump that I got put on. The AccuCheck. Yes, the AccuCheck. And boy, was that fantastic. So the first pump I went on, listen, I was having bad hypos. I was injecting myself 4 times a day. Another rapid in the daytime, fast-acting insulin. In the evening, the Lantus. And the Lantus was what was putting me basically in a very bad state where my hypos were horrendous. I was like 1.7. I still get like that now, but 1.7 having a normal chat. And then suddenly I'll be just body popping, doing some classic 80s dance maneuvers. I was actually having such a seizure, a bad fit, that people thought I was just being me and being crazy. I'd be like, exorcist, head spinning. Hypos were bad, hypo unawareness, and I needed to get it sorted. Now I was hearing things about insulin pumps. I could say insulin pumps, diabetic pumps. I was told off at the worst charity ever, JDRF. I was told off once for saying diabetic pump. How dare you say diabetic pump? I'm sorry, but it is, and I'm a diabetic, so fuck you and your family. So that's what happened. I needed to sort my life out. And luckily, my diabetic consultant in East Sussex was unbelievable. Knocked on doors. My dad, he helped me. He was chasing up for me, trying to find ways. And the pump was going to hopefully resolve my hypo unawareness. So what happened next? What we all have to do, and I hated it, the Daphne course. Yes, it sounds like a sexy chick from Scooby-Doo, but oh no. It's about learning. And something I was stubborn with, was learning about new things and having to go on a course. God, man, I've been diabetic for so long. I've got to go on a course. But I know about diabetes and everything that there is to know about it. Oh, no, but you don't. So doing these little courses, I'm telling you now, it helped me massively. But you have to do these little courses to go on to such fabulous things, such as a diabetic pump, an insulin pump, or I don't know if you have to do it in terms of getting involved with CGMs, but these courses are very, very important and vital. So I headed off to my first Daphne course, and with the Daphne course, doing it for a week. No, I didn't do it for a week. I did it for a month. I did it once every week for a month. So 4 sessions, and then I could get my magical little box of delights, and hopefully life was going to be incredibly better. The first pump I went on was called the AccuCheck. And to me, I had no experience with pumps. So being on this pump was amazing. I was like, do you know what? I felt a sigh of relief. But before I went on the pump, I always thought, oh my God, how big is it going to be? Is it going to be like a rocket pack? There, I mean, attached to me. It's going to be like a colostomy bag. Honestly, I was ignorant. I was thinking these stupid things. Like, I'd be walking around with this side compartment, like the Doctor Who's TARDIS, attached to my side. And I'd be having to lug it around and then put it in a certain carry frame, wheel it around everywhere, tubes everywhere. Simple thing is, it's small. It was that big. It was quite chunky. Tube that was long. A tube that was long. And lucky for me, the lovely lady who gave me my advice on the AccuCheck from Roche, I think, is it Roche or Roche? Brilliant. Helped me. She was great. And because of that, the information she gave me, I felt fantastic. She made me feel reassured. So it always helps when a trainer with the insulin pumps makes you feel safe, at ease, and if you have any problems when you're on the pump, to always contact them. So the AccuCheck came. I was none the wiser, so I was happy to go with it. I had nothing to compare with. I wasn't on the CGM. That was going to come later. I was still pricking my finger. But do you know what? My blood sugars were back to normal. The tubing never bothered me. Tubes just don't bother me. They never have. For some people, they feel like it's going to restrict them. From my experience, tubing does not restrict you at all. I don't care if a tube is hanging out. We're all different, yeah. Again, you might think a bit, you might think of it being a bit funky with a tube hanging out and someone's going to yank it out. They won't. And let people stare. I always say this, let people stare. I've got type 1 diabetes, and what? People stare at you. It's okay. Let them stare, because when people stare, it educates them. This raises awareness. And you are a brave person. You're brave. You're showing off. You're showing off everything that you have to make sure that people understand what you live with. So tubing, if it bothers you, I'm telling you from experience, it's all right. It's cool. You get shorter tubes now. The ones that I had back in the day were like huge skipping ropes. Me, Guinness World Records. I'm just skipping on my tubing. Thank you. I had no problems with the AccuCheck at all. It was fantastic. But then 3 years passed. It was a good pump. Closed loop hadn't come out yet, but it was good. It kept me in a good place. But the best thing about it was I could keep still control of how much insulin I gave myself. I could play with it, which is great. I don't trust technology that much to allow it to take over from me. No, I just don't. But after the AccuCheck, 3 years are up, it could have been 4 years, I moved on to, for me, a pump which was the Omnipod. So the Omnipod came, closed loop, still wasn't around, everyone was pushing for it, but I kept going to these chats and doing talks at events where people were saying, technology, tech. I'll be brutally honest, technology is great, and we've come on leaps and bounds since I was diagnosed back in 1989, 1990. But tech, you can't always rely on. Cars, they break down. Technology breaks down, computers break down, but we can get it fixed. You always have to put yourself in pole position, knowing if you can handle a situation. So for me, if I'm not in control of the pump, I trust it, I'll trust it. Sometimes I don't get me wrong, but I like to be in control of what's going on, especially with my insulin. Medtronic, I've never been on, but I do know that there's, I think it might be the Medtronic 360, you can't tamper with it, so you can't, it just locks off. So that was a no for me. I'd like to have that freedom. Omnipod came because of my athletic background, not having a tube. I thought, well, it didn't bother me before, but maybe this is going to be great. Now, the Omnipod, the guy who did the training was lovely, really genuinely a lovely guy. But I met more people who worked for Omnipod behind the scenes when they wanted me to be an ambassador. And for me, as a company, they were just too clean cut. Although you can't say that. You've got to make out as if it's the greatest pump ever. That's a lie, because I'm not going to say it's the greatest pump just because I'm an ambassador. I can say the pros, but there are going to be cons. Nothing's perfect. So I didn't like that, the whole thing of it's the best of the best of the best. Yeah, it can be great, but it's still not going to be 110%, because unless my pancreas is working like that, giving itself insulin naturally, I'm cured. That's what I want. That's what I want. So the whole Omnipod behind the scenes thing, I didn't like. The guy training, brilliant. As a pump, yeah, great. As it's tubeless, waterproof, have a shower with it. The only downside can be it's a little bit too big. I thought it was, just too big. It was like a wart I didn't want. And thank God you couldn't put it in your face, otherwise it would blend in with warts, if you have them on your face. You can put them on your bum. I wasn't using my bum at that time because I was always prone to using my stomach, and when I did my Nova Rapid injections, always on my arm. As a pump itself, was it good? I don't think it was aggressive enough with the insulin and how it worked. I didn't like it because with the Omnipod, you have to have this, I couldn't do it through my phone. And I'm sure times have changed since I was on it. You had to have this little receiver, and then you'd give it the insulin, line it up, and it would then Bluetooth its way across. But if you went out and you forgot that you had it, you were screwed. You couldn't tamper with it because there's no buttons on it to give yourself insulin. I didn't like it. I have to be in control. If I'm not in control, I absolutely hate it. So that was the main bad side for the Omnipod. It was the fact that I had to communicate with something. I couldn't, with most pumps, the AccuCheck, you could do it. I'll talk about the T-Slim in a minute. The Ipsomed that I'm on at the moment, you can give yourself insulin through the pump itself. But the Omnipod, you can't. So that for me is a downside. Was it okay? It was okay. I liked it a little bit. I didn't like the company themselves because of how they put out diabetes to the world in terms of it's all brilliant, no swearing, and we have to be so straight-laced. That's bollocks. You live with type 1, you are going to swear. You live with type 1, you are going to make mistakes. You live with type 1, you're going to say things, you're going to do things, you're going to do, you're going to act out the ordinary. So for me, having ambassadors who are also straight-laced and like this, oh no, I can't swear, and it's insulin pump. No, bollocks to that. Don't like it. So as a whole, I didn't like it. Mainly because of the company, how they structure things, but also because of not being in control with the little unit. But the guy who trained me was lovely. And he was very, very he came across in a positive, constructive fashion. I like that. Nice guy. But as a pump for me, not good because I like to be in control. And the next pump was the worst pump I've ever been on. I know people are on it that love it, but for me, the T-Slim, vile. So I wanted to get off the Omnipod because I wasn't a fan of it. And luckily I was on a trial period. So I think with Omnipod, you can do a little stint to see if it suits you, and then you get onto your contract with it. So for me, I tried it. I didn't like it, came off it, and then T-Slim. And this is when closed loop happens, and everyone was going closed loops the way forward, and it is. This is what's changing everything. So technology, thank you very much. Brilliant. So the T-Slim came, and I thought this is going to be a game changer. The lady who trained me was absolutely lovely. Great. The information was fantastic. The helpline was great. On weekends, you could speak to somebody in America. They were good. So it was good. It was good to begin with. Now, this is where it happens for me. I had about 5 or 6 hospital episodes being on the T-Slim. It wasn't reacting well enough to my body. I was in a bad state. In fact, the worst state I'd ever been in my life. I nearly died, I think, 2 to 3 times where I nearly went into very, very bad diabetic comas. I had seizures. It was just awful. If I hypoed, it wouldn't cut off the insulin. So luckily my dad, who always saved my day when I was out and I'd suddenly fainted somewhere, he'd get the call, he'd have to rip the pump out. The cannulas and stuff with it were painful. I didn't like I don't like the little plastic new needles you can get with the cannulas. For me, they bend. I'm old school, so I don't mind the pain. It's all right. But the cannulas were like thick steel. And apparently there is an inserter which you can inject and it puts it in, but I was never told about that. So I was stabbing myself with this long needle for about, I think 4 years, 3.5 years, just putting it in my skin. It was around my stomach, and I was so sore. There was no movement with it. It was rigid. It was tough. It didn't agree with my body, and I just didn't like it. And for me, if a pump is putting you in hospital, people then will blame you, saying, well, it's your fault, the way you live, what you're going through, what you're doing. No, I was trying my very best. My HbA1c was very good, but that's because I was nearly at death's door, so I was hypoing all the time. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. As a pump, the help really wasn't there when you'd ring them up with the helplines. There was no real support. My diabetic consultants at Warwick, absolutely fantastic, but there was no support. I hated it. And this is when I considered going back onto just injecting myself, because I didn't want that pain anymore. And I thought, pumps, what's this about? And then everyone said, but the closed loop setup on the T-Slim is not good. The tandem T-Slim is not good. It's not advanced. My consultant said this to me last week. It's not aggressive enough to help. It's just not, for me, it's a very, very weak pump. And I don't agree with it. The whole concept of how it works, the company themselves has not enough support. The occlusions were insane. It took ages to change. It was just, when you need to change a pump, you want something quick. It's easy. There's no stress. This was like, for me, it was a long process. I need to change my insides. I need to change it. Let it be quick. It wasn't quick. It was just long. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And it's a pump that I highly do not recommend. Just don't recommend it. So if you are on the T-Slim and you're having great times with it, please comment. It's great to share experiences with these things. But for me, it nearly killed me. I hated it. So then I came to the Ypsomed pump. My consultant helped me. She realised that the T-Slim was killing me. Needed to get me onto a new pump. Now, closed loop has changed so much since I was first put on a pump. The Ypsomed, for me, is the greatest pump I have ever been on. The AccuCheck, it's old-fashioned, but it was fucking brilliant. It was great. The Ypsomed closed loop setup, fantastic. It's easy to change, quick access. The cannulas, they're not just stuck in your ass or in your belly or on your arm. There's like a circular movement, so it moves around. You don't feel uncomfortable wearing it. You know, with the T-slim, you put it on your bum, you sit down and go, ah! It's like sitting on a cactus. Some people might enjoy that. I certainly don't. But the cannula in the Ipsomed, brilliant. The company themselves, brilliant. The trainer, fantastic. She told me about me stop using my stomach because I started getting lumps on my stomach, and I always thought I can't put it anywhere else, the pump. So in the arse, it sounds a bit fruity, but in the backside it goes now, better. But as a trainer, they gave me confidence. I'm confident, but this gave me more confidence using a pump because I was very negative towards the T-slim. I've had great HbA1c since I've been on the Ipsomed. I'm not having as many hypos. When you have a hypo, you're able to tell it how many grams you've had from your hypo, and then it works things out. So it works out for an algorithm, your blood sugar levels. It's a godsend, and for me, it's the best pump, and I'm sure there'll be better pumps out there in the near distant future, but it's brilliant. So for me, being on 4 pumps, the Ipsomed wins. AccuCheck comes in number 2, Omnipod comes in number 3, and the T-Slim can go to hell and do a merry little jig with Satan at number 4. So that's it. I could go into far more detail about it, but for me, it all comes down to a pump suiting your lifestyle. What's best for you? If you're moving around all the time, you know, and you're struggling, a tube might be a bit of a pain in the arse. So, Omnipod. AccuCheck, I don't think do one anymore. The T-Slim, listen, if you put on the T-Slim, it might work for you. But from my experiences, it didn't. The Ipsomed for me is number 1. If you get the chance to go on an Ipsomed, do the research, ask your consultant, fucking fantastic. Really good. I've had very bad hypos on it still. I'll always have bad hypos. A pump isn't going to save me from hypos. It just isn't. But you're in control. It's a smart device. When you go low, it shuts off that insulin. I've heard good things about Medtronic in that way. It shuts off your insulin. But Medtronic for me is too much like a brick. I don't want to carry it. I will never go to Medtronic. But Ipsomed for me has been for number 1. So there we have it. The thing is, as I end this episode, too many people are told now to rely on technology. Technology is fantastic. It does help. It does save. But you have to also realise that sometimes you might have to prick your finger. I know it hurts at times. I know it might be a nuisance or pain in the arse. But sometimes pricking your finger just to test your blood sugar levels, fine. Insulin pump. It might be a bit funky. It might have an occlusion. Something breaks down. Don't stress. You can get it sorted out the next day if it's late at night. You have your injections as backup. You've always got, if you've got insulin, inject your Lantus, your Nova Rapid, whatever you're on. Always think ahead of the game. So, something's broken down. It's all right. Gonna be okay. Call the hospital. Call your doctor. Just make sure you have backups. If you have a backup, it's fine. You deal with that situation the next day. And I'm doing a lot of hand movements, traffic control. But tech is fantastic. It's come on leaps and bounds. But try to rely on yourself as well. Closed loop is come on leaps and bounds. It's brilliant. I'm always going to be a bit funny about companies that aren't willing to let you speak the truth. I've been offered to be an ambassador for every single pump I've been on, and every single company I've been on, even Ipsomed, they've been a bit arsehole-ish because they just haven't got back to me. Oh, we want you to be an ambassador, but they want me to probably speak the words that they want me to sort of like say in terms of, oh, it's magical, no cons. There's no cons in there. No, there'll always be cons. There's never anything which is 100% positive, like I say, until your pancreas is fixed. But you have to speak on your own behalf and you have to speak your own truth. But the pump, the Ipsomed, for me, number 1. Next week, I don't know what I'll be talking about, but something interesting, something fruity, something sexy, something cha-cha-cha. But thank you for listening. I'm knackered now, and I haven't had a hypo. Bloody hell, that's good work. Until next week, lots of love, and remember, believe in yourself, no fear, and show off your goods. Who cares if someone stares? Look, baby, I'm type 1. Shimmy, shimmy, ya!